adrenaline and attraction. In the vibrant mountains of Colorado, Adrian Miles is a name on everyone's lips. A promising star in the world of men's professional downhill mountain biking, he possesses all the skills necessary to dominate the sport. Yet, commitment is a foreign concept for him. Independent and unyielding, Adrian has always preferred to ride against the grain, resisting the conformist pressures that come with fame. Dr. Riley Thompson, a skilled and respected sports physician, is making waves in her field, dedicated to innovative research in sports medicine. Her focus and drive have never wavered when it comes to her career. However, in her personal life, she struggles to venture beyond her comfort zone, confining herself to her lab and her research. But life is unpredictable. After a spectacular crash at the championship, Adrian finds himself in Dr. Thompson's medical station. Their paths cross, igniting an unexpected chemistry that neither can ignore. As they grapple with their newfound feelings, they must navigate the challenges of their lives, both on and off the track. Will their connection withstand the pressure of their ambitions? Or will the twists of fate derail them both? Adrian enters the medical center, still shaken from his fall. When he meets Dr. Riley Thompson, he's immediately struck dumb, lost in admiration for the confident woman before him. "Hello there, I'm Dr. Thompson. What brings you in today?" Her voice is calm and professional, but her warm smile hints at a deeper understanding. Hey, it's me, Adrian Miles," he stammers, still dazed. "Guess I took a dive a little heavier than planned." "No worries, it happens to the best of us," she replies, maintaining eye contact while pulling on her medical gloves. "What seems to be the issue?" "Just a bit of shoulder trouble," he, managing a grin. "Decided to take on the mountain, and it didn't end well." Dr. Thompson chuckles lightly. "Well, let's take a look. If you could please remove your jersey." Adrian obeys, but not without noticing the glances Dr. Thompson steals. She tries to keep it professional, yet he catches the way her eyes linger. A small thrill runs through him. "All right, let me examine your shoulder," she instructs. As she conducts her checks, her touch is precise and reassuring. Adrian wonders whether it's the pain or the doctor's careful hands that make his pulse race. "So what happened out there? A tree jump gone wrong?" she asks with a playful glint in her eye. "Let's just say I thought I was invincible for a moment there," Adrian admits, struggling to keep the mood light despite the ache. "Seems like a wild ride, but it looks like just bruising," Dr. Thompson notes, jotting her observations. "But I can help with the discomfort." Adrian can't help but smile at the care she shows. "That's great to hear. I'd hate to be sidelined." Her examination continues, and with each touch, he feels a jolt of warmth that he can't quite place. It feels electric, an unfamiliar feeling he's both excited and nervous about. "How long have you been in sports medicine?" he asks, desperate to shift his mind from the sensations. "Long enough to know how to handle wrecks like yours. This is actually my first major biking event, but I've been in the field for years," she replies, expertly working through his range of motion. "Nice. Maybe you'll enjoy the thrill of the track someday," he says, gauging her response. "I prefer being behind the scenes, to be honest," she says, a hint of shyness creeping into her words. "But I admire the athletes like you who go for it. Adventures like these are what keep me going," he says. "You might surprise yourself if you ever try it out." Dr. Thompson pauses for a moment, contemplating his words. "Perhaps. I could always use a change of scenery. Count me in for a proper introduction to biking," Adrian offers with a flash of a smile. He feels a spark. "Perhaps this isn't just a doctor-patient dynamic. I might take you up on that," she responds, the corners of her lips quirking into a smile. "Just remember, it's all about the rush," he teases. "Trust me, I know all about adrenaline," she replies, slipping back into her professional demeanor as she wraps up her examination. "You're lucky it's just bruising. I recommend some ice and rest. If you need further treatment, just let me know." Adrian nods, his heart racing, not only from the thrill of the ride but also from the intriguing connection he's felt with Dr. Thompson. "Thanks, document. Maybe I should take you out as a thank you, to discuss my rush in more detail." Dr. Thompson smirks, her green eyes sparkling with a mix of amusement and interest. "Don't think I'll let you off that easy, Adrian, but I'll consider it, as long as you promise not to take on any trees." "Deal," he grins, locking eyes with her, both feeling the anticipation of what's to come. They may be from different worlds, but their paths have just begun to intertwine in unexpected ways. Adrian left the medical center feeling a little lighter, both physically and emotionally. Although he had taken a knock on the track, the possibility of a budding friendship, or more, with Dr. Riley Thompson filled him with an exhilarating energy. The thought of their interactions lingered in his mind as he headed back to the pit area, where fellow racers were buzzing with excitement over the competition. The next few days passed in a blur of training and recovery, but Adrian couldn't shake the feeling that he was waiting for something. More specifically, someone. A week after their first encounter, he received a message from Dr. Thompson. "Hey Adrian, hope you're recovering well. I was wondering if you'd still be interested in discussing the thrill of biking this weekend? No trees involved, I promise." Riley, his heart raced at the invitation. A dinner, just the two of them? The butterflies in his stomach felt like an invitation to a high-stakes race. He quickly typed a response, making sure to keep it light and playful. "Hey Riley, absolutely count me in. I'll find a place with a good view of the mountains. What's a rush without a great landscape?" "Adrian," Riley responded almost immediately with an enthusiastic thumbs-up emoticon, and just like that, the anticipation grew. The night arrived, and Adrian found himself at a cozy little restaurant perched on a hillside. The view of the sun setting behind the mountains was nothing short of breathtaking, casting shades of orange and pink across the sky. He arrived early, meticulously choosing a table that was both secluded and offered the best panorama. When Riley walked in, her presence lit up the room. Wearing a casual yet stylish outfit that accentuated her athletic frame, she seemed both confident and relaxed. Adrian stood to greet her, and as their eyes locked, he felt an undeniable connection, stronger than the previous week. "Wow, you weren't kidding about the view," she said, taking a seat. "I can see why you love this sport." "Only the best for my favorite chiropractor," he replied with a grin, raising his glass of sparkling water in a toast. She laughed, and it filled him with warmth. Their conversation flowed easily. Biking anecdotes turned into stories of their lives outside the sports world. Adrian shared tales of near misses and adrenaline-fueled moments on the track, while Riley, initially reserved, opened up about her journey into medicine and her passion for helping athletes recover. As the night moved on, Adrian noticed little things that ignited deeper interest. How Riley smiled with her eyes, how genuinely animated she became when talking about her work. The air around them felt charged, as if it was brimming with unspoken possibilities. "I really admire your independence," Riley said at one point, catching him off guard. "Most people would be satisfied with just staying in their comfort zones, but you thrive on pushing boundaries. It's inspiring." Adrian felt a rush of gratitude. "Thanks, that means a lot coming from you. But it's easy to take risks when you love what you do." "True, but you also need the guts to follow through." "Not everyone can do that," Riley countered, her green eyes locking onto his. The intensity of her gaze made Adrian's heartbeat quicken. Time seemed to slow as a pregnant pause filled the air. There was a flicker of something unspoken, something they were both feeling but hadn't yet voiced. "I guess we both have our own ways of stepping out of our comfort zones," Adrian said softly. "You've taken on the challenge of this event, and I'm trying to, well, take the plunge into the dating world. A hint of vulnerability filled the space between them. It's not always easy, is it? Riley replied, her smile softening. Being good at something doesn't translate to everything else in life being easy. Exactly, Adrian admitted, the caveat hanging in the air. But I think it can be worth it. Riley bit her lip as if contemplating her next words. I've always been so focused on my goals that I often forget to look up and see what else is out there. Her voice dropped to just above a whisper. It's scary letting someone else in. Maybe we can both try being a little brave, Adrian suggested, his heart racing, each word weighed with unintentional significance. The moment was electric, and it felt like they were both teetering on the edge of a beautiful leap into the unknown. Just then, the waiter arrived with their food, breaking the tension but also providing a welcome distraction. After the plates were set, they resumed their conversation, allowing the energy from their earlier exchange to bubble beneath the surface. As they finished their dinner, Riley suggested they take a walk outside to soak in the beauty of the night. Adrian gladly accepted, the chill of the evening air mixed with the warmth radiating from their connection. Strolling along the path with the mountains looming in the background, Adrian felt a sense of peace envelop him. He began, casting a sidelong glance at Riley, I think it's easy to get so caught up in racing or in your case research that we forget to enjoy the ride. Definitely, she agreed, a thoughtful expression crossing her face. I think I'm just starting to realize that the ride itself has its own kind of thrill. They paused next to a viewpoint, the majestic landscape before them awash in twilight hues. Adrian turned to Riley, his heart pounding with the urge to reach out. Earlier, you mentioned letting someone in. Do you think we could explore that together? Riley's breath caught, her eyes wide as she searched his face. I'd like that, she whispered, stepping closer. The air changed, thick with anticipation. Adrian reached for her hand, and Riley accepted his grasp. Their fingers intertwined naturally, and Adrian felt as though the whole world faded away, leaving just them in that moment. Two individuals at the edge of something beautiful and unexplored. In that instant, Adrian knew this was only the beginning of their adventure together, one that was bound to be filled with its own thrills and challenges. With the mountains bearing witness, he could feel both their hearts racing. No helmets or pads required this time. As they stood hand in hand, the colors of the sunset painting the sky behind them, Adrian felt a rush of emotions he hadn't anticipated. The evening air was cool against his skin, but Riley's warmth radiated through their joined hands. He glanced down, the touch igniting something deep within him, an unspoken promise of what was to come. Are you sure about this? Adrian asked, his voice slightly shaky as he met her gaze, wanting to ensure this wasn't just a fleeting moment. Riley's eyes sparkled in the fading light. I've never been more certain about anything, she replied, her voice steady. It's time for me to step out of my comfort zone and embrace whatever happens next. Encouraged by her words, Adrian leaned in closer, feeling a magnetic pull between them. Then let's ride this wave together, he said softly, his breath quickening. With a nod of agreement, Riley moved a fraction closer, and they both seemed to lean in at the same moment. As their lips met for the first time, Adrian was engulfed by a rush of warmth and exhilaration that felt far more potent than any adrenaline high he'd experienced on his bike. It was tender, exploratory, and as Riley leaned into him, he knew instinctively that they were carving out a unique path together. When they finally pulled apart, both slightly breathless, Adrian smiled widely. Okay, that was definitely worth breaking my usual no distractions rule. Riley laughed, her cheeks flushed yet glowing. I'm glad you feel that way because I have the feeling this won't be the last adventure we share. Definitely not, Adrian replied, heart soaring. I want to explore this, whatever this is, fully. I want to learn about you, What makes you tick outside the lab in the clinic? I'd like that, she said, her gaze affectionate as their fingers remained intertwined. And I want to hear more about what drives you on and off the track. Deal, Adrian said, feeling both excited and nervous. But fair warning, my life comes with a lot of chaos. I've got competitions coming up, sponsors breathing down my neck, and training regimes that could use a solid support system. Riley smirked. Chaos? I've worked in the medical field for years. I thrive on chaos. I think we might just balance each other out. They continued walking, the path illuminated by soft lanterns strung nearby, casting a warm glow on their faces. Adrian felt an urge to learn everything about her, delving deeper into her world as she shared her aspirations in sports medicine and her passion for helping athletes like him achieve their dreams. Oh, I have to warn you, she added playfully. I become super competitive, especially during board games. Just a heads up. Adrian laughed, charmed. Is that so? I'll have to bring my A game then. Just make sure you're prepared to lose. Confident are we? She teased, raising an eyebrow. I'll be sure to keep an eye on my trophy collection. As they bantered, Adrian felt as though he were getting to know not just Riley the doctor but Riley the person, the woman who was brave enough to challenge her own boundaries. Suddenly, Riley came to a halt, looking at the distant mountain peaks silhouetted against the night sky. You know, she said quietly, I've spent so much time focused on my career that I've overlooked the beauty of life beyond it. It's easy to forget to live while striving for success. I get that, Adrian said, his gaze shifting to meet hers. The thrill of the ride can sometimes darken the view, but the best moments come from appreciating all the small things too, like evenings like this, with someone you can connect with. Riley smiled warmly, her expression filled with sincerity. You have a gift for turning moments into memories. Only because I've learned from the best, he said, nudging her playfully. And who knows, maybe we'll create our own adventure stories together. Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket, breaking the intimacy of the moment. Checking it quickly, Adrian saw a message from his team. Hey Adrian, we need to discuss strategy for next week's race. Can you meet? Ugh, Adrian groaned. Frustration etched on his face. I hate to cut this short, but I have a team meeting I can't skip. Go, Riley said, a subtle smile playing on her lips, masking a tinge of disappointment. I wouldn't want you to miss out on preparations. This is your world after all. Right, he hesitated, not wanting to leave the magic of their evening behind. But how about we pick this back up? I'd like to see you again soon, maybe after the meeting. Definitely, she said, her enthusiasm returning. You know where to find me. The perfect scene awaits, a second round of debunking the chaos of life and exploring what lies beyond. Great, Adrian replied, his heart lightened by her acceptance. They exchanged one last lingering look, and he felt a sense of anticipation for all that was to come. As he walked back to his car, Adrian couldn't shake the feeling that tonight had shifted something seismic in his life. The ride hadn't merely been about adrenaline on the track. It had become a journey of connection and vulnerability, one he was excited to explore with Riley. The idea of a future together filled him with hope and the thrill of the unknown. He had a feeling their paths would intertwine in ways he could only begin to imagine, driving him to new heights both on and off the bike. For the first time, the finish line felt like just a beginning.